You know the number one manufacturer of it? Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. They still use the coca leaf for flavor for Coca-Cola, but
Like they shut down the cocaine molecule somehow.
they extract it,
Right.
and they use it to produce medical grade cocaine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then something of that still gets into
The
Coke.
flavor
Yeah.
is what's in Coke. I guess it's the flavonoids. That's what's in Coca-Cola. And it used to be cocaine was in Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
I would like to go back and try some of that. I'd like to go, like, what was that like? Like, how much cocaine was in there?
You ever wonder or think about the history of something that you drink every single day? Like, how does this become this? Back in the 1860s, Europe went absolutely nuts over a wine laced with coca leaf. It was called Vin Mariani. Celebrities loved it, authors sang its praises, and Pope Leo XIII even gave it his personal endorsement. They all promised it gave you vigor, focus, and a whole lot of vitality. And then Americans looked at that idea and said, of course, let's carbonate it. That's the origin story of Coca-Cola, a little known tonic that once linked Coca and Cola in the same glass. Today, Coke is obviously completely cocaine-free, but the story of how it got there isn't just about a recipe for change. It's about how we, as a society, draw the lines between a stimulant and a street drug, the lines between food and pharmaceuticals, and the lines between culture and crime. So now let's take a step back in time to the wine, the lawsuits, the loophole, and of course, the lobbyists. So, we're in Paris. Vin Mariani is blending a Bordeaux wine with coca leaves. The alcohol from the wine literally pulls the cocaine out of the leaves. And the ads are claiming this stuff restores health and energy. It's a hard sell for sure, but a massive one. And it becomes a total craze. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, an Atlanta pharmacist named John Pemberton is watching all of this. He riffs on the formula and launches his own version. French wine, cocoa. But then in 1886, local temperance laws forced his hand. The wine had to go, so he kept the coca and the cola and just added carbonation. And with this, Coca-Cola is born. Did Coca-Cola contain cocaine? Yeah, at first. Early Coke used the coca leaf extract. Back when the public hadn't turned, its back on cocaine. But then by the early 1900s, the tide shifts. Newspapers and reformers start to hammering this idea of the risks of Coke, and Coca-Cola quietly removes the cocaine around 1903. And later relies on different kinds of coca leaf, ones where the drug has already been removed. So basically, it was just coca, the taste, without the cocaine. But the fight over stimulants didn't just end there. In 1909, the US government sued the company. So it was around this time their argument was Coca-Cola was secretly loading its bottles with risky stimulants. enter caffeine. The case, United States versus 40 barrels and 20 kegs of Coca-Cola, ends up in the Supreme Court in 1916. The company eventually cuts its caffeine and pays to settle the whole thing. The brand survives, but the stimulant stays, just a little more subdued. So we have no cocaine and a little less caffeine. A quick, satisfying win for science. Then comes 1929. Industrial chemistry perfects a new way to remove all the psychoactive alkaloids from the coca leaf. This means Coke can keep its unique flavor without any of the drugs. That's the modern line in the sand. Now here's the part that most people don't see. To legally use that decocainized coca extract, you need a very controlled supply chain. In the US, that runs through one gate, a DEA-registered chemical plant in Maywood, New Jersey, operated by a company called Staypan. So Staypan imports the coca leaves, removes the cocaine for, pharmaceutical purposes. And then they sell the cocaine-free extractors flavoring famously for Coca-Cola. So according to a landmark New York Times report from 1988, it spells it all out that Maywood Lab was the nation's only legal commercial importer of coca leaves. The pipeline is tiny, but it's very, very real. Over the decades, anti-narcotics laws kept this explicit language protecting decocainized extract, creating a narrow legal lane Coke could drive through. History notes that the company pushes hard to protect the Coke supply, from lobbying for exemptions during import debates to even experimenting with covert coca projects in Hawaii in the 1960s. I guess that's what smart incumbents do. They lock down their inputs, control their supply, control their risks, and then scale globally. So let's fast forward today. And I asked this question. So why is caffeine okay in soda, but other plant compounds aren't? The short answer is just regulatory confidence and dose. In US law, caffeine is generally recognized as safe. In cola-type beverages for up to 0.02%, the rules are specific and the lane is clear. Now let's compare that to kratom, a Southeast Asian leaf with opioid-like qualities. The FDA says that kratom is not lawfully marketed in the US as a food additive. But in 2025, they even went after products containing a specific alkaloid, flagging it as an emerging public health threat.
Roughly 85% of the vape products are illegal vape products. We know that because the FDA publishes a list of legal vape products, and no cutesy, fruity flavor designed to appeal to children or a video game vape product device is legal or approved by the FDA. I've been surprised that the candies and gummies and drinks and ice cream cones, here's one drink with 7-OH in it. There are other products that get added to drinks. Do we understand what 7-OH is at public health scale? Let's not get caught flat-footed again. We're not targeting the kratom leaf or ground up kratom. We are targeting the concentrated synthetic byproduct that is an opioid. The Trump administration is deeply committed to preventing another wave of the opioid epidemic.
Now you're in the same grocery store aisle, but these two products have wildly different risk profiles and therefore wildly different rule books.
New at 4, metro area residents who take what some consider a dangerous herb to treat pain are defending the supplement. The feds are close to deciding whether to classify kratom as an illegal drug.
Day after Governor Robert Bentley signed a bill to ban kratom, Etowah County is immediately making an effort to remove it from the streets.
Yeah, law enforcement is seizing kratom from shelves and investigating stores known to sell the product. CBS 42 News reporter Matt Fernandez is live in Gadsden with the first kratom raid under this new law.
As soon as kratom became illegal yesterday, law enforcement hitting the streets in Etowah County. They seized more than $100,000 worth of kratom. No arrests were made, but there was a warning. If they sell it today, they will be arrested.
750 milligrams. Okay.
So not quite a gram.
Not quite a gram. All right. That seems like a reasonable amount. But they always construct these things in these ridiculous, dramatic oppositions, like it was me versus a woman whose son had died of some kratom-associated overdose. And, you know, it turns into a thing like, well, what do you have to say to this woman whose son died? It's like, I don't know. You know, there are people that die from caffeine overdoses as well. It's tragic that this happens.
Have people died from this?
Yes.
How much do you have to take?
An enormous amount. I mean, I think a lot of people set up these unrealistic expectations with these drugs where if they like a drug, they want to say it's impossible for it to kill anyone. It's impossible. There's no possible way. If you set that as your standard, you'll always fail because people will die doing absolutely everything. Running, having sex, defecating. Aspirin, absolutely. There's nothing in this world that can't find its way into a human death. So if people want to say, and even, you know, cannabis, obviously, people say you can't overdose on cannabis, and essentially you can't. But if you look in the medical literature, there are a number of these cannabis-associated fatalities. You know, you can debate them endlessly, but the point is once a drug enters a large enough population, there'll be a number of sensitive individuals, and someone will die. It doesn't mean that the drug is dangerous. It means that it's unrealistic to set a standard where if anything bad happens to anyone, we have to decide that the drug is dangerous and should be banned.
So let's fast forward to today, where we have this upcoming craze of wellness drinks. You know, and compared to the story of Coke, this is kind of a gray zone today. Brands are pushing for things like, you know, natural energy, calming or focus, with novel additives and ingredients racing ahead of the science while regulators play catch up. And here's the thing, we've been here before. The Coca-Cola story is a time lapse of how a country decides what's a beverage and what is a drug, and how powerful companies get to decide and shape who makes that decision. But here's the uncomfortable question. Is the line we drew based on pharmacology or on power? With Coke, the company built a legal exclusive path for an ingredient most of its rivals couldn't touch, decocainized cocoa, while the government defined caffeine safety down to a decimal. That's not shady in itself per se, but it's strategic. But it also shows how policy plus lobbying plus logistics can lock in advantages for companies and for, you know, certain people for decades to come. So, when we look at today's functional beverages, whether it's those mega caffeine energy drinks sponsored by influencers or a new plant-based tonic, you know, which promises focus and vitality, the ethical test is the same. Are the claims ahead of their time? Are the doses and risks transparent? And who bears the cost when we move that line? From cocaine, wine, to caffeine law, this is really a story about the rules and who gets to write them. The drinks changed, but the playbook didn't. I'm Mukembe Norris, and this has been a Farm to Feast original. Thank you for watching. If you like our content and you like what we talk about, I'd like you to press the subscribe button and like our videos. You know, this helps us, you know, work with the algorithm and get more of our content out there. And then also let me know what stories you'd want me to cover, what food stories. Farm to Feast is a channel where we focus on food, the food we eat, the people that make it, and just policy and everything in and around food. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a community that does that. So I thank you for everyone who supported us so far, and thank you. See you on the next one.